Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO bricks throughout this last week. And before I jump in, first I do want to say that the instructions for 4 new lightsaber hilt designs have entered the web store www.brickvault.toys from the designer Louis Meany, aka Built Bricks. There is Leia's lightsaber, Rey's lightsaber, Ahsoka Tano's lightsaber, the Fulcrum ones, and also Kylo Ren's damaged saber. And then also this week there has been an update to the Viper Mark II from the builder Flying Waffle. This doesn't actually look a whole lot different on the outside, but the model has been optimized internally to be stronger and use more efficient pieces. It's a super awesome model. I actually had a ton of fun rebuilding this one, and it's cool to see how models get updated when designers revisit them a couple years later. Now without further ado, let's jump into the awesome models of the week. Let's start off with some honorable mentions from Arrow O'Conan. This is Villa Corp Kusi. Great roof design, love the wispy smoke. Andreas Lenander titled this MCX19, and it's a very interesting look for a hover speeder. Nobuteri has a deceptively simple looking micro-scale design for a cat, but it registers perfectly as a cat. There's another one if you check out his link in the description below. From the builder Markus, this is a Shipwreck Island remake build, and I quickly just wanted to point out how cool it is to use the multi-colors in the deeper water for the water effect on this little island build. Makes it look like there's coral underneath. It's just a nice effect. Andreas Lenander has another really cool little spider build called Kumo. Here's a work in progress pic from Big Planes, working on another big old plane, maybe the biggest plane from Big Planes he's ever built. And now we're looking at a couple of Lamborghinis from the G Bricks, built at the Speed Champions scale. Excellent angles for these cars. Dan Coe has an excellent little build titled Fifi the Warrior Princess and the Hunt for Tatsu, the Magic Whale. Love the forced perspective from Markus Rollbuhler. This is 101 Bricks Discovery. And here's a great another one of those 1940 plus collaborative projects from a designer whose name unfortunately I can't even begin to pronounce, but there's a wonderful amount of details here. Now let's jump straight into top 10 for the week from the builder Markus Rollbuhler. This is Coastal Guardian. The white tiles stitched together for the lighthouse tower are so close. I like that the deck is a bit loose underneath the very colorful and rustic little shack. There's some great root detailing for the tree with yellow leaves made with those feather pieces, and the small scene is just chock full of interesting little building techniques everywhere you look. Number 9 moving down is from Max Howell, and the title is Ribbit. In the description it says the latest breakthrough in frog-related technology is here. The red ball pieces studded in on the fingertips is a great bit of detailing. I also love the build for the eyes, and the head itself really does look like a frog head. The character has a wonderful dynamic pose, does look like this figure could jump if it wanted to very far, and the oversized hands add a lot of extra detail and drama to the figure in total. From the builder VincentKiew, if I had to guess, this might be a commissioned model with an excellent sense of scale and architecture build techniques in mind. The title is Chonghua Independent High School, and he took a ton of great photos from a lot of different angles, and it really captures the full campus quite well. This is a real high school that's been around for over 100 years, and this is a pretty cool way to commemorate the campus itself. Personally, I just love the actual techniques used to create the school itself. The colors contrast quite well, and there's enough subtle angles in here to keep the whole area feeling quite interesting as a LEGO piece. Jumping down to number 7 from the builder Toltomeja, this is Peach Blossom Lake. You can see that this LEGO model is in fact built to look like a scroll, a painted scroll of some kind. We have the title and stamp in the upper left corner. You can see that the roll is thicker at the top, like this is paper that's being rolled out, and then the art itself painted onto it is a three-dimensional and quite interesting series of connections that creates mountains, birds, mist from the valley, a lake, boats, forest, and then it looks like maybe a closer tree and house or shrine. I personally love the gaps between the different peaks on the mountains, and in general this is just a very unique build style that you don't see too often. Here's number 6 from Firas Abu Jabber. This is the AC Shelby Cobra. Absolutely excellent model. It looks like it's built roughly at the Creator Expert Scale. And actually looking now at the description, the designer says that this is built from the 10271 Fiat Lego Creator Expert set, which is incredibly impressive. It really does look like, based on the shapes at least, that this designer has not been limiting themselves at all in terms of the pieces and part choices that they had in order to create the shapes that we get here. I love the slow slant of that front hood. The back wheel wells rise in a really elegant way. The hood opens up also quite authentically. The doors open. The back even has a slight trunk area. And if he did indeed just build the Shelby Cobra based on the pieces from the set, no more, no less, this might be the single best or most effective alternate kit concept that I've ever seen a designer pull off. It is absolutely incredible. Now this one grabbed my eye. It's just a very interesting shape for a small spaceship from Christopher Hoffmann. This is Space Catamaran Polycerate Kite. Now the main thing that really grabs my attention for this model are the wonderful curved openings that we have on either side of the front of the cockpit. The studs are reversed in such a way to make this opening very smooth and elegant, and the whole spacecraft feels very, very well contained because of it. Outside of that, we do have some wonderful little shapes that round this whole little flyer off, but it really is just a unique design that strikes me as being quite clean and also elegant. That 1920 collab stuff is really grabbing my attention. This is my personal favorite one that I've seen so far. CTR Bartosz is the designer, and the title is Iron Harvest, a bunch of different letters and numerals, VielfraB. The universe around this scene is quite striking and interesting, where you have old school industrial kind of mechs that somewhat look like they could exist in the 1920s, juxtaposed with agrarian early 20th century rural life that makes the big obtrusive robot of death feel all the more out of place, yet in a strange way almost feel like it could fit. There is something that just feels a little bit familiar and a little bit different, and that's what I think has drawn so many designers to play around with this Iron Harvest concept. The sunflowers have a great building technique. There's a ton of awesome building techniques, by the way, just for all the different nature stuff. The robot looks great, and while cyberpunk will always be one of my favorite Lego themes that I'll see people building in, this is certainly becoming one of the more interesting universes that Lego designers are beginning to tackle. Here's a simple fun one from Dan Co. This is Alien Speeder. I love the use of that new rubber piece, and the video theme in general is producing figures that are so interesting and strange that I think we're going to be seeing a lot of fun builds that are inspired to sort of match with this crazy wacky art style like you can see here. I just like seeing this new piece get used in such a fun, simple, yet pretty effective way. And now we're looking at number 2. If you're keeping track of these numbers, I don't really pay attention necessarily to the order in which I present models, but anyways, from Nannan Zhang, this is a Go. It's the title of this ship, and it easily has some of the most interesting or strange offset ideas for techniques out of the whole week. The Technic wheel wells integrate perfectly, seamlessly with the rest of the system bricks. The use of different sphere shapes thrown in and around the entire model have a really interesting way of popping out. The exposed energy crystals in the center are displayed quite tastefully with the trans clear triangular piece clipped in the center, and also the thin flag pieces on either side of the rear wings, if you can call them that, have a great way of just keeping this whole model feel very clean and smooth through and through. Now let's finish off with a really fun design that I just cannot get enough of from Mitsuru Nikaido. This is the Lego Mecha Walrus. This designer plays around with a really similar building technique, creating mecha versions of often sea creatures or insects, but this walrus is another very interesting deviation from the norm, and it's just really fun to see this blubbery, blobby type of mammal get built with the similar treatment of the mecha build style that he's so well known for. I like the use of the flexible hose pieces in light bluish gray. That has a really nice way of stitching together this whole animal. And at this size, the proportions and shapes for the head and the rest of the body and the fins really do feel very spot on. And as a whole, the model really does feel quite lifelike. Anyways, this is just a really fun and strange animal to see done in such a specific art style. And that was it for my personal top 10 picks of the week. If you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever it is that you want to do. Which of these models were your personal favorite? Thank you so much for watching and sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.